Admiral Kethvar of the Zephyrian Empire studied the tactical display with growing unease. The human fleet, outnumbered 3-1, held their position at the edge of the Proxima system like a pack of predators waiting to strike. Every military algorithm in his vast database suggested they should have retreated hours ago. "Admiral," his tactical officer hissed through mandibles that clicked nervously. "The humans refuse our surrender terms." They're actually advancing." Kethvar's four eyes narrowed. In his 3 centuries of military service, he had conquered 17 species across 42 star systems. He understood soldiers, beings trained to follow orders, execute strategies, and retreat when logic demanded it. The Vorthan made excellent soldiers with their disciplined formations. The crystalline Nexari followed commands with mechanical precision. Even his own Zephyrian forces were renowned for their tactical brilliance. But humans, they defied every principle of civilized warfare. "Bring up the psychological profile on their commander," Kethvar ordered. The holographic display materialized, showing a scarred human female with steel-gray eyes, Commander Sarah Chen of the Terran Defense Fleet. Her record read like a collection of impossible victories, holding the line at Kepler Station against overwhelming odds. The legendary fighting retreat through the asteroid fields of Tau Ceti. The defense of New Geneva, where her forces somehow turned a rout into a counteroffensive. "Look at this," Kethvar muttered, reading further. "She's been court-martialed twice for disobeying direct orders, insubordination, reckless endangerment. Yet they keep promoting her." His aide, young Lieutenant Vextar, leaned closer. "Perhaps human military doctrine is simply primitive?" Kethvar's laugh was bitter. "Primitive? They've held us at bay for 3 years with inferior technology and smaller fleets. There's nothing primitive about that." The truth gnawed at him. The galaxy had perfected the art of making soldiers, beings who fought with skill, discipline, and calculated aggression. The Hegemony Military Academy produced flawless tacticians. The war colleges of Andromeda turned out strategic geniuses. Every civilized species understood that warfare was a science of probabilities, logistics, and rational decision-making. Humans threw all of that into the void. "Admiral!" The communications officer's voice cracked with panic. "The human fleet is breaking formation. They're charging directly at our battle line." Kethvar's blood chilled. No trained soldier would attempt such a maneuver. The human ships, battered and outgunned, streaked toward his formation like meteors seeking collision. It was tactical suicide unless "all ships defensive positions," he barked. But even as the orders left his mouth, he knew he was reacting instead of acting. The humans had seized the initiative through sheer audacity. The first human ship, a scarred destroyer called the Valkyrie, smashed through his forward screen. Instead of maintaining formation, it twisted between his capital ships like a knife fighter in an alley brawl. Behind it came a cruiser that should have been scrap metal a week ago, its hull patched with civilian cargo plates but still spitting fire. "They're not following any recognizable battle doctrine," his tactical officer reported, his voice tinged with something approaching awe. Kethvar watched his perfect formation disintegrate as the humans carved through it with impossible maneuvers. They fought like each ship was alive, like each captain was painting a personal masterpiece of destruction across the stars. His soldiers responded according to training, falling back to established defensive positions, calling for support, following the manual. The humans ignored the manual entirely. A damaged human frigate, the Defiant, lost main power and began drifting toward his flagship. Standard protocol demanded his crew destroy it before it could ram them. Instead, he watched in fascination as the human ship used maneuvering thrusters to spin itself into a weapons platform, its crew manually operating the guns through backup power. "Sir," Vextar whispered, "I'm detecting multiple human vessels operating beyond safe parameters. Their crew should be dead from the acceleration alone." "But they're not," Kethvar said quietly. Understanding began to dawn like a cold sun. "They're not soldiers at all." The distinction crystallized in his mind. Soldiers were manufactured, trained, disciplined, predictable. They followed orders and doctrine because that's what created effective military units. They fought for duty, for their governments, for strategic objectives. Warriors were forged, tempered by something deeper, more primal, more dangerous. They fought for reasons that transcended tactical sense. They charged impossible odds not because they were ordered to, but because something in their nature demanded it. Commander Chen's voice crackled across all frequencies, addressing her fleet. All ships, this is Chen. We're outnumbered, outgunned, and probably outmatched. But they're standing between us and home. Show them what Earth creates. The human ships responded with a war cry that made Kethvar's scales crawl. Not words, but something far more primitive, the sound of predators accepting a challenge. As his formation continued to collapse around him, Kethvar made a decision that would haunt his military career. All ships begin tactical withdrawal. We cannot win this engagement. Vexitar stared at him in shock. Sir, we still have numerical superiority. Numbers don't matter, Kethvar said, watching the human ships pursue his retreating forces with relentless determination. We brought soldiers to fight warriors. The galaxy taught us to make perfect troops who follow orders and minimize casualties. Earth created something else entirely, beings who transform impossible situations into legendary victories through sheer force of will. Later, in his report to Zephyrian High Command, Admiral Kethvar would write, Recommendation: avoid direct engagement with human forces. They do not fight to win, they fight to become the storm itself. The galaxy makes soldiers, but only Earth creates warriors. And the difference, I fear, may prove decisive in this war. As his fleet jumped to hyperspace, leaving the Proxima system to the humans, Kethvar couldn't shake the image of that scarred destroyer, the Valkyrie, standing alone among the wreckage like a monument to controlled chaos. The galaxy would learn, as he had learned, that some forces could not be calculated, predicted, or defeated through conventional means. Some forces could only be survived, or surrendered to,